For many years, election campaigns have seen little change in how they are carried out. A candidate would announce his intentions to all that he or she is running, pass out brochures and campaign pins, meet the public to attempt to gain votes, and then watch the results on election night. However, an American presidential candidate named Barack Obama took it upon himself to use means he thought would further his chances, which were far from conventional. Obama enlisted the use of social media sites to further enhance his campaign through online marketing. The end result was the first ever African-American president elected to the White House in 2008. The Pew Internet and American Life Project reported a record-breaking 46% of Americans use the internet, email, or cell phone text messaging to get news about the campaign, share their views, and contact other people. 35% of Americans viewed online video on the election, and 10% used social media sites to find out more about the electoral race, a significant increase from the presidential election back in 2004. Here are some interesting statistics taken before the election. Some hard numbers show the Obama campaign was much more active in social media than the John McCain campaign. On Facebook, Obama had nearly 2.4 million supporters, whereas McCain only had 600,000. On Twitter, Obama had over 112,000 followers, whereas McCain only had 4,600. Views for videos on YouTube were counted at 18 million for Obama. McCain's videos drew 2 million views. The use of YouTube also saved the Obama campaign a considerable amount of money in advertising. Locally, social media has already made a moderate impact in dialogue between potential voters, the incumbents, and hopeful candidates. In this podcast, we will be taking a look at how much of an effect social media may have on the upcoming elections in St. John.
Social media in our current day and age is prevalent than ever before. With such sites as Facebook and Twitter, the general public gather news and interest faster and quicker in the mobile revolution. In the 2004 St. John Municipal election, voter turnout was at a 51.69%, with 26,140 voters out of a possible 50,574. But social media didn't play much of a force back then. In 2008, voter turnout for the municipal election was down by 1.75% to 49.93%, 24,080 out of a possible 48,222 voters. Why would voter turnout go down in percentage rates in the 2008 municipal election? Social media was starting to gain more speed as it moves through time and the calendar, but how come voter turnout was down? Were people not as engaged as they seem to be now, or were candidates and campaigns not using social media to its full advantage? One of the hardest things to do that's not directly measurable is monitoring the use of social media to encourage voter turnout. Elections Canada reported a 61.4% voter turnout in the most recent 2011 federal election, an improvement over the 2008 numbers, but still the third lowest in Canadian history. A tweet could drive voter opinion to encourage voting, but we don't really know, as a vote is a secret ballot. Also, social media could get you out to vote, but that isn't as easy to identify as well. Social media and traditional campaigning methods go hand in hand, but for example, 10 years ago, you couldn't directly message a candidate to their smartphone who, within 24 hours or less, will engage with you directly to explain their platform and mandate. We now have instant access to a wealth of knowledge on the go. Nothing is on the tip of our tongue anymore, it's at the tip of our fingers. Here in St. John, there seems to be a generational change of engagement, and social media has played a major role. Through Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, people here in St. John are able to have more of a voice online to express their opinions, and voter engagement may help exceed previous voter turnout percentages. It's hard to determine if social media will be the driving force for a changing of the guard here in St. John, but one thing is for sure. Social media engagement for this upcoming 2012 municipal election has gone viral and is prevalent than ever before.
Mayoral candidate Ivan Court was elected in 2008 and is running for re-election in the 2012 St. John municipal elections. His views on social media are less than favorable and doesn't quite understand how to use social media to his full advantage.
It's interesting how some people are using social media. When they get negative comments, they're taking them off, and they're highlighting what the positive comments are. It's interesting that they're really not dealing with the people who really vote. Many of the people who really vote aren't involved in social media. They're dealing to the younger generation for the most part.
So are you a fan of social media or not?
No, I'm involved in social media, but not. I pass out messages. I'm not interested in Facebook and spending my whole day too much lost productivity. When I see people in council chambers during council texting out every minute, they're not paying attention to the job they're supposed to be doing. And people should be paying attention to that. When you have to say to somebody, I'm sorry, your light's on, but you're not paying attention, I mean, that's wrong. I mean, when you're having a conversation with me, you shouldn't be texting somebody at the same time.
Okay, that's on council, but what about the campaign
But in the
itself,
campaign-
in terms of getting your message out and the feedback you're getting from potential good, bad, positive, negative feedback you're
No,
getting?
the bottom line is people only know what they read in the paper. And if you're using the paper is the most damaging thing of anything, regardless of who serves on council. Council has been a target by the printed media since I was a kid. For some strange reason, they want to control City Hall because if it's not the paper's agenda, they don't support you.
Okay, but Ivan, we're not talking about conventional media
I know.
now. I mean, social
On the
media.
social
getting your-
media,
you know,
more and more people are getting it. My messages are going out on tweets, those types of things, but I'm not on Facebook. For the reason being, I don't have time for Facebook. My job requires 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if I'm going to spend that time on Facebook, I'm not really dealing with it. If people have real serious concerns, they usually visit me at City Hall. They see me face to face, or I go and see them.
You know, when you mean Facebook, I mean you don't have time to comment back to what they're
No,
commenting on because you can link it.
That's right. Yeah, I don't have the physical time to spend on there hours and hours. I get more than 100 emails a day, and people ask for instant replies. You get them even on Christmas Eve, and they'll say, "Well, it took you a day to get back to me." Well, that's how social media is interfering with quality of life issues too, and employers are finding all kinds of people abusing the system and with social media during work time. Productivity is going way down. They're losing 2 and 3 hours of work from their employees, and in some places they're banning it only for business
How does
purposes.
social media change your campaign this year versus previous campaigns?
Hasn't. I go face to face, people know me, and I still to a lot of the traditional methods. Tweeting is the only thing that I do, and it's usually to give out things that are happening in the community so people are aware of it. It's not to gain someone's vote.
It would be fair to say you're not an enthusiastic supporter of social media as far as campaign is concerned?
I don't use that as a tool for campaigning. Some people think that that's the best way. They're gonna give you the message that you want. I'm amazed at how people are abusing the system because they're not happy when they get a negative response. I deal with the negativity. People send me letters. I respond to them. Same thing with the others. The bottom line is, if you're out there and you're using it as the paper would use it, let's eliminate any positive things that are being said and let's only concentrate on the negative. That's, to me, is the wrong way about going about it.
Mayoral candidate Joe Callahan is new to St. John politics and is running this year on a $50 a day campaign budget. That's as old school as you can get. He might not have a firm grip on how to use social media, but he understands the importance of it.
Since I've never been on Facebook before, it is a useful tool that people know how to use it and to their advantage. I can see where, and especially nowadays, it's only going to be more so. You have to be on top of things, and of course they didn't even have computers or hand calculators when I was going to school, so you talk about old school, that's me. But I believe it's an integral part of everyday living now, and if I was elected mayor, why, it's something that I would have to tackle and learn to use quite often. But as of right now, geez, I just get flooded with things from Facebook. I mean, I'll open it up and I got a whole page, of things to look through. So it's keeps you on your toes, but you also get to look and see how people perceive you and other things going on. So it's an important tool. It's one that can't be denied or ignored.
Mayoral candidate Matthew Thompson has been labeled as a possible underdog in this election. He's been taking a grassroots approach to his campaign, as well as having a handle on social media. He uses it to cut costs and gets his message out to people in unique methods.
I don't want to be focused just on social media as an aspect, because you can miss those people who aren't engaged on social media, because we still do have a culture that's, within our city we have an older population and stuff that are not quite into it yet. I run into a fair number of people who are not engaging in the social media aspect of it because they look at it as, this is my friends and family, I'm not getting into the political side of things. I have a Facebook page that is completely open. You do not have to like it to see anything on it. I made it so that you didn't have to, so that anyone could go on there and see everything that everyone else does freely and openly. The nice thing about the metrics that are on Facebook, you can kind of track and see your reaches and stuff like that, which is quite a bit. Honestly, I have 58 or 59 this morning that people that actually like it. But the amount of views is very high. It's over 1,600 for this week in views. And I would rather see people viewing it than people just liking it because, I have to like it to see what your campaign platform is and meet who you are. Twitter has been another one. The followers are there, but the retweets are there a lot more, and a lot of engaging questions coming from people who do not even follow. And it's a good forum. We've been using the broadcasts that we're doing. We're doing another one Friday night, which seems to be really huge. The first one was astronomical. I was hoping for 100 people, and 2,300. And it was 2,303 or 2,304 altogether that signed in and watched.
What's the focus of the broadcast Friday night?
The broadcast Friday night, the first one we had open questions. You could ask anything. It was game. You could ask, and on
Through chat?
Yep, through chat. So what we use is Ustream. So it's from my living room. We just made it so that it was just comfortable, just in the living room, and we're just broadcasting. We have the cameras and everything set because we use this quite frequently in another thing that we do, and so yeah, they just could chat. Ask the questions. People were calling in some questions. People were sending in through email some questions, just answering them and talking back and forth. It's completely open, spontaneous. On Friday night, we're going to discuss more some of the issues that were raised through some of the questions. In specific, we're talking about how to deal with leadership. So they want to know more about how to make the council work better, how to provide the leadership that the city needs, how to deal with some of the leadership issues. Another one of the topics that has been reoccurring that we're going to talk about is keeping people within our city and engaging from our children right through to our seniors. So we're going to elaborate on some of that along with some other topics that have come up. As well, you can still ask your questions during the time too.
Mayoral candidate Mel Norton is new to St. John politics as well. He was elected as a common councillor in the 2010 by-elections. Now he's throwing his hat into the ring for mayor of this municipal election. Mel Norton is no stranger to social media with his hashtag #TellMel and his Facebook page.
The real power of social media, from my perspective, has come in the ability to have more than one or two conversations in the limited time that you might have in the run of a day. You may only have one or two really meaningful conversations with actual voters during the run of the day. Even if you're going door to door, oftentimes it's just to say, hi, my name is, here's my brochure. What social media allows you to do is at night or in the morning you can scroll through the questions and you can have pretty detailed conversations with potential voters on issues that you may never get to talk to them about in real life. I think it extends your ability to have conversations, and that's been the power. I think that's the power that it's demonstrated for me anyway, is the ability to do that, because time is a limited commodity, and social media allows you to expand that time and just allows you to have more authentic and more real conversations within the same number of hours. That's how I've seen it work anyway.
Do you think you could relate possible likes on Facebook or anyone that follows you to that as being compared to a possible vote?
I haven't been asked that question before and hadn't thought about it. What I do see are more of the conversation threads. And yesterday, it was yesterday, I posted an update on what may be the Plan D budget of council. And Plan D sounds as scary as it would be in terms of a mark or a grade. It's a very scary budget proposition, and it would come into effect if we can't get some pension relief. And so I posted on a Facebook and a Twitter post that Plan D budget might include cutting a number of things, and I listed 2 or 3 things, including the zoo. And this conversation and this thread started to unfold of people who love animals, and we all love animals. And they talked about the closing of the zoo, and how could we possibly consider that? And then at the end of it, I was able to respond, well, that's, if we can fix the pension plan, the solution is fixing this pension plan, so we can free up money. So in that case, it wasn't necessarily a series of likes, but there was the conversation component. I think people just generally check off likes because it's something interesting or quirky or something they may agree with, but not necessarily. I don't think there's a strong correlation in my own experience.
Not necessary comments, but I mean, say like for your page, for example. So like you can check. Say, I always wondered how would someone say measure the statistics and see how well social media does help you engage more with the campaign.
I don't know if we've even measured it. We get like the Google metrics report, on hits on the website and how much time is spent by the different hits, but I don't know if that we've ever measured that. Maybe that's the next evolution of, and I don't know if there is a measure for that. I guess this class probably got more experts in it than certainly than me.
In terms of campaigning, obviously the traditional means like going door to door, face to face. Obviously, they'll always have their part in the campaign. Definitely have their value. But do you think for online campaigning, do you think that can be proven to be just as effective, but with making it seem more friendly to those maybe less familiar with it? Like obviously the traditional methods will always be there, and they should be. But do you think there's a way to make online campaigning more personal, I guess, and how one go about that?
Yeah, one of the because there is that danger of feeling feeling that it's disconnected or it's just a messaging source. It's just pushing an agenda, and how do you really connect with voters? The most effective thing I've seen are having one-on-one conversations back and forth, and sometimes it's a multiple part direct message back and forth on Twitter with somebody, like and it may be over the course of days that you're doing it. The other way, I suppose, and I don't know how this has worked out, but I saw one of the candidates do I think it was like you log on to do a live webcast. And you could log onto their webcast and ask them questions, and I didn't participate in it because not part of our team. So, but it's interesting. There are other creative ways like that. The most effective thing, and I think until human beings stop being human beings, is still meeting people one-on-one and talking to people one-on-one. There's zero substitute for voter contact. There's zero substitute for looking somebody in the eyeball and them being able to ask you questions and being able to respond, and you just can generate so much more impact from that. It's more time consuming. I think that's still going to be the best way that people connect in any election.
With the current state that St. John is in, a dire change is in order. Major cuts, pension issues, and the city's deficit has created a negative atmosphere in the city. With this many people unhappy, more and more people are looking for change. And that's where the power of social media lies. It gives a voice to the individuals and makes every voice heard. If the mayoral candidates don't understand how to use social media now, then they will lose touch with the people that they serve. In 2008, Facebook and Twitter changed the face of American politics. Now, 4 years later, St. John is facing that need for change. After the election on May 14th, the people of St. John will see if social media created the change they needed.